Good evening. This is CTV News for Wednesday, November 2nd. I'm Denise Douglas.
And I'm Patricia Vallone. Thank you for joining us this evening. Well, victims of a tragic apartment explosion in Silver Spring over the summer filed several lawsuits today. The plaintiffs say they are seeking justice for family members who died, were injured, or were displaced.
Apartamentos in Arley Street.
After work, I lose my property, all my property.
Después del incendio, yo perdí todas mis propiedades, todo lo que tenía.
I need right now justice.
Dozens of victims from a deadly apartment fire this past August joined Casa de Maryland and law firm Bailey and Glasser this morning in the district to announce the filing of 2 lawsuits.
We have asked for investigation information from a half dozen government agencies. We have asked for information from Washington Gas and K Management. They have delayed and danced around our demands long enough. The lawsuits that we have filed today give us the tools to get answers.
The first suit puts the responsibility of the incident squarely on Washington Gas as the entity responsible for the fuel lines which exploded that night, and K Management, which failed in its responsibility to its tenants.
No one is saying who is responsible for this. Neither the state, the county, nor the federal government has stepped forward to give victims the answer they are entitled to.
The fiery explosion left 7 people dead, including several children. At least 25 were injured, and about 150 residents were displaced. Many have also experienced ongoing mental trauma as a result of the incident.
If this happened in a rich neighborhood, you know what? Will we have an answer immediately? But because these families live in a poor neighborhood, still we don't receive any answer.
Although no monetary amounts are mentioned in the lawsuits, attorneys say they will fight for just compensation for the victims and their families once they receive information from government agencies investigating the incident.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
And the lawsuits were filed in D.C. Superior Court because the headquarters of Washington Gas is located in the district. Well, gas service has been restored to the second of 2 buildings that make up Lynn Hill condominiums. This was the scene earlier this morning as crews were wrapping up. Electricity was restored on Friday. The Maryland Public Service Commission ordered the restoration after ruling that the companies did not give occupants the required 14-day notice before cutting services. The decision means that people can move back in, but the utilities can be shut off in the future if they give proper notice. For many residents, that's not an option.
I don't want to have my family in that limbo. So if I move all my stuff back in, 2 or 3 months later, I might have to move it right back out again and start all over again. So that's why I had to do what I had to do for my family.
Our unit, it has leaks. Mold is growing in the walls. It's pests everywhere. It's just awful. It's awful.
And while it appears that many residents think moving back is too risky, county officials say the problems are much larger than the loss of utilities.
I want to make it very clear that in addition to looking at whether the power is back on, we're also going to look at code violations. I am not going to have people in Prince George's County living in substandard conditions. And so we're going to stay there. We're going to work with the community there. But we're also going to help those who want to leave those apartments find other places.
And the complex is more than $1 million in debt. Some lawmakers are calling for the state to investigate whether theft or mismanagement led to the crisis.
The National Transportation Safety Board is leading the investigation into a fatal crash in Baltimore yesterday that killed 6 people and injured several others. Officials say the accident happened when a school bus rear-ended another vehicle, lost control, and collided with an MTA commuter bus. The collision left both of the drivers and 4 passengers dead, 3 people hospitalized at shock trauma, and 7 others injured. There were no students on board at the time. The NTSB hopes to gather information through the autopsies, witnesses, and recording equipment to understand why the school bus lost control. Investigators are planning to spend a week at the scene. Well, time is running out if you plan to vote, but officials say many residents in Prince George's County are taking advantage of early voting, and the numbers show it. Some people, though, are also feeling what many describe as voter fatigue. CTV's Sonia Srivastava has the story from Bowie.
Well, as of late yesterday, more than 100,000 residents here in Prince George's County had voted in early voting, and that number is double from what it was in 2012. Now, these numbers certainly reflect a statewide trend where we're seeing very high numbers when it comes to early voting.
The Bowie Gymnasium is one of the 9 early voting sites in Prince George's County and also one of the busiest.
The people have come out. The first day was on Thursday. We worked from 8 to 8, a steady flow of people.
When our cameras were there this afternoon, we found a steady stream of voters and the process pretty painless.
It's been very easy. I came with a group of people from the neighborhood and we were in and out.
It was good. Yes, ma'am.
Did it save you a lot of time?
Yes, it did.
This is our first time voting early, so it was nice.
So far, more than 100,000 residents have voted in the county, and there's still one more day to go. In 2012, just 68,000 had voted. Officials say the historic nature of this election can be given some credit.
We've had a lot of young voters for the first time that's come through, and they're enthusiastic about voting.
Many voters we spoke to say they just want it to be over. Nonstop news coverage, the back and forth, the name calling. For many, it's just too much.
She shouldn't be allowed to run. She's guilty of a very, very serious crime. She should not be allowed to run.
When it comes to the wall that Donald talks about building, he went to Mexico. He had a meeting with the Mexican president. Didn't even raise it. He choked.
Have you been feeling like there's been too much negativity?
Yeah, I have, although I would point the negativity towards the Republicans.
Are you ready for this political season to be over?
I am ready, and I cannot wait until Hillary wins. I feel like a lot of issues have not been answered because it's been a lot of cattiness, going back and forth, trying to pull here and pull there.
It's been a long season for it, and it's good it's over.
Yeah, I'll be glad when it's over because commercials can go back to the regular.
I didn't like the way it went when they were debating.
I'm of Mexican descent, and my husband is Puerto Rican, so they identify with that a lot. And hearing somebody put down immigrants specifically for where I come from, it's been hard for them. It's been really hard for them to.
For your children.
For my children, and for me personally.
Well, if you still haven't voted, it's not too late. Early voting will end tomorrow, Thursday. Polls will close at 8 p.m., so you still have some time to get out there and vote. In Bowie, I'm Sonia Srivastava. Back to you.
Yeah, Sonia just said it, but it is worth repeating. The last day to early vote is tomorrow in Maryland. Polls close 8 o'clock. Thank you for that, Sonia. You are watching CTV News. I'm Denise Douglas.
And I'm Patricia Vallone.